Hello students. In today's session, we are supposed to discuss about CMA exam. What sort of the techniques student must have to use during their exam, and what are the problems they are facing during their exam? I'm supposed to discuss today in this session about these things. The objective of the session is to understand about do's and don'ts during the CMA exam. This is very important thing. What we should have to do during CMA exam and what sort of the actions we must not have to perform during our exam. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to discuss the introduction of IMA. IMA, Institute of Management Accountant, was founded in 1919 in Buffalo, New York. And at that time, its name was National Association of Cost Accountants, NACA. In 1957, it was renamed as National Association of Accountants, NAA. But in 1991, its name was again changed and its new name is Institute of Management Accountants. Now it has global presence and it have awarded CMA certification to more than 50,000 members. Okay, so this is the brief introduction about the certification awarding body. Now I'm moving towards uh, the introduction of CMA program. CMA is a certification awarded by Institute of Management Accountant, which comprises two-part exams. This is important. How many parts this exam have? Only two parts. First part is financial planning, performance and analytics, and this is the syllabus weightage. External financial reporting decisions 15%, planning, budgeting and forecasting 20%. Keep in mind before 2020, the weightage of this area was 30%. The weightage of this area was 30%. Performance management 20%, cost management 15%, and again it was before 2020 20%. Now it's changed. Internal controls 15%, and this section is now newly added section whose weightage is 15%. It's technology and analytics. Now, technology and analytics is the new addition in CMA Part 1 exam. Planning, budgeting, forecasting, and cost management exam weightage is reduced, but its syllabus doesn't change. But the deleted portion is from internal controls, and from here, internal audit section. Internal audit. That section have been removed. Now internal audit is no more part of the CMA exam. CMA Part 2, Strategic Financial Management. Here financial statements analysis is 20%, corporate finance 20%, decision analysis 25%, risk management 10%, investment decision 10%, and professional ethics 15%. Here again, Now the exam weightage of professional ethics have been increased from 10% to 15%. Previously it was 10%. Now it's increased as 15%. Also, uh, decision analysis exam weightage is also increased. Now it's 25% and previously it was 20%. Okay. And some areas from here have been removed, and the weightage of investment decision also downgraded. It was previously 15%, now it's 10%. Okay, so these are the some changes uh, by keeping in mind IMA, the requirement of technology as being a CMA professionals. They have added this section in their exams comprehensively, and they have reshuffled some other areas. When CMA exams are going to be held, it's three exams windows during a year, like January and February, May and June, September and October. Okay. Now the upcoming window, which is supposed to be right now under process in May and June, and next upcoming window is September and October. But due to this global pandemic, COVID-19, IMA have extended the time for this exam window, May and June. It's now up till 31st of July. CMA exam is offered globally through prometric testing centers. So for the registration of CMA exam, you must have to go towards prometric testing center website, which is and you are supposed to book your exam online, and these centers are located throughout the world. Like in Pakistan, there are three centers, which those are located in Karachi, Lahore, and Islamabad. In UAE, the centers are located in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. And rest of the world, you can find out the exam centers from the Prometric website. One thing which is very important, let's assume one student want to appear in exam at 25th of Feb. For that purpose, he must have to register till 15th of February uh, with IMA and as well as with the Prometric. Uh, from IMA website, you are supposed to register yourself with IMA and you are supposed to pay your related dues, and after that, you are supposed to book your exam through Prometric testing center website. For that purpose, you must have to reserve your seat till 15th of Feb. But if one student want to appear on exam on 31st of January, even though he can register and complete the process on 30th January, okay, but your exam will seat will be reserved subject to the availability of the seat in your desired center. Okay. Now, the next thing which is very important, what is the exam structure of CMA? CMA exam is a 4 hours exam and it comprises two exam windows. One exam window, which is the first exam window, having 100 MCQs, which you are supposed to attempt within 3 hours. You are supposed to attempt in 3 hours. Second exam window, having 2 essay type questions to attempt within 1 hour. So total exam duration is 4 hours. First 3 hours, you are supposed to attempt 100 MCQs, which is called first exam window. After completion of these 100 MCQs, automatically software will allow you the access to the second exam window, but it will depend on certain criteria. If you will meet that criteria, then you will get the access to the second exam window. What is the exam marks weightage? Every part comprises on 500 marks, and its bifurcation is as follows. 75% marks weightage belongs to first window, okay, which is 375 marks, and 25%, which is 125 marks, belongs to second exam window. So in total, your marks are 500. In total, your marks are 500, 375 for first section, which is MCQ section, and 125 marks for second section, which is two essay type questions. So apparently, first exam window have too much weightage for exam. But you can't overlook the second exam window. Second exam window have also too much weightage because to accomplish your objective, which I will discuss later on, you need to have a good grip on both parts. But definitely, because total marks weightage is more for first exam window, so its importance is higher, but you can't overlook second exam window. Okay, what is the target? What you want to achieve? That is 360 figure. This number is very important for CMA students. Like if you got 360, you got 500. If you got 359, you got 0, because this is the target. So our core objective is to achieve this target, which is 360 marks. Okay. So you must have to accomplish this objective. How we will accomplish this objective? This is the agenda of today's discussion. This is general guidance. Must have to complete your sleep before you will go for your exam. Relax, confident, committed during the exam. Confidence is very important thing. If you don't have confidence, uh, you would not accomplish your objective. So to achieve your objective, you must have to be confident and relax. If you have tension and you will take exam pressure, then during your exam, you will be confused. So confidence and relaxation is very important thing. Commitment must have to be sincere with yourself. So you must have to put the required efforts during your exam as well as before your exams to accomplish your objective. During your exam, use simple calculator. Scientific calculator is not allowed during your exam. Yes, IMA have recommended one specific model, to be very honest, which is very costly, of scientific calculator. So in what I am recommending to my students, use very simple calculator. Don't waste your time during exam by concentrating irrelevant thing. Wastage of time is one of major concern during CMA exam. Review your complete syllabus before your exam. Revision of syllabus is important. Bring your passport or national identity card or driving license as proof of your identification. because when you will go for your exam, to get access to your exam center, they will check your identification. For that purpose, you can use either thing, either your passport, your NIC, or your driving license. For your workings, papers and pencils will be provided by the invigilators during your exams for workings and calculations. Keep in mind one thing more, like in your software, there is a calculator available, but it will take too much time, like switching from your working, because it's a computer based exam. So I am recommending students to bring your calculator with yourself, which is a simple calculator. Okay, now the specific guidance. This is of one important thing, which one made time management. This is one of the major problems. This is one of the major impediments the students are facing during their exam. So time management is a major issue which you must have to manage during your exam. How to manage that? What is the solution for this? Your first exam window, total marks. Total time, you have 180 minutes time for each MCQs, 1.8 minutes idle time, 0.2 minutes per MCQs. So the productive time as per my experience is 1.6 minutes. So you must have to complete your one MCQ during 1.6 minutes. Now compare it, like for ACCA exams, for every MCQs, this time is around 3.6 minutes. So this 1.6 is less than half of what the time you have for ACCA exam. So CMA exam is a time pressure exam. This is my experience as being when I was student and I appeared in my CMA exam, and as being a trainer, average time requirement to attempt each question. You may have 30 questions, those will require 30 to 60 seconds. So this area will be completed in 15 to 30 minutes. Then you may have 30 questions which will take 1.5 to 2 minutes. This area will be completed in, these 30 questions will be completed in 45 to 60 minutes. Then you may have 30 MCQs that will take 2 to 4 minutes. And this section will be completed in 60 to 120 minutes. And then 10 MCQs, those would be very big MCQs, and that will take 4 to 6 minutes. And it will take in total 40 to 60 minutes. So from this whole discussion, you may reach on one conclusion that CMA exam is a tough exam. It takes time. So time management is a major issue. So how to manage that time? This is important. Like I have identified you that you may have 30 MCQs. Those will take 30 to 60 seconds. Half minute hardly. What I believe, I am saying that these are single word MCQs. Single word. These are single word MCQs. So your major concern in these questions would have to identify this single word. And that single word may change the examiner requirement. Like from these are the past exams questions. When preparing the series of annual operating budgets, management usually starts the process with, now how long it will take? Just 10 to 15 seconds. Sales budget. All of the following are disadvantages of top-down budgeting as opposed to participatory budgeting, except. Now this single word actually changed the requirement. So what examiner is asking that describe the advantage of top-down budgeting. So advantage of top-down budgeting is this: reduce the time required for budgeting. All these three are disadvantages. So this single word actually changed the requirement. In like in sentence, he is giving you the indication that he made asking about disadvantages, but this word changed the requirement. Examiner actually expecting you to discuss the advantage of top-down budgeting. Got it? So this is very important. These and most of the cases, students giving less concentration to these questions, and they are very happy, like it's a very simple and very concise question. Students is less focusing on these areas. Indeed, they should have to give too much attention on these questions, because every MCQ have same marks weightage. Okay, so my experience is most of the students are overlooking in this area. Come towards next area. These are little bit big questions, so you have to read the question in that scenario. Don't be panic like too much data about the question. First of all, read the requirement. What question is this area? The discounted net of tax amount that should be factored into core companies and analysis for the disposal transaction is. Now this is numerical question. Here, first of all, read the requirement. You may find the answer from your requirement, but in some scenarios, you may not find the answer from your requirement. In that case, first of all, what we have to do? Read requirement first. Ignore irrelevant data. You may have irrelevant data during your question. Like here you have discount factor as well as annuity factor. So from these two things, you have to use one thing. So from the data, you will find what that area is uh, relevant and what area is irrelevant. Like acquires an asset that costs this and is anticipated to have salvage value of this. Actually, what examiner is asking, the discounted net of tax amount that should be factored into company for disposal transaction. So only disposal transaction relevant data you have to identify, and you will do the working according to that thing. So ignore irrelevant data and identify which data is relevant. And in this way, you would be able to manage your time during the exam. Here is a much bigger question. Okay, so again, this will take a little bit more time. Here again, what are the major techniques you have to use? Read the requirement first, then identify your relevant data and ignore your irrelevant data. Again, you must have to read the requirement first, identify your relevant data and ignore your irrelevant data. These are the questions, those will take too much time. The last 10 MCQs. Here students are going to be very confused. Candidates, will be panicked during their exam, like it's too much big data and how to manage this. Here, major concern is time management. For that purpose, first of all, read the requirement. Again, because one problem in CMA exam is you may have too much irrelevant data. Study requirement first, think logically. By having a logical process during in your mind during your exam, you may reach out at your answer in a quick time. Don't confuse. If you can't find the solution, this is important, like by studying the requirement and overviewing the data as well as of the question, you could not find out the answer and your time is running out. You don't need to invest too much time on these type of questions. Then guess your best possible answer. But one thing must have to remember, don't leave unanswered question because there is no negative marking. If it is your first exam, in my personal experience, like when I was appearing in my CMA Part 2 exam, the first three questions, those appeared on my screen were like the having very big data. But what I did, I skipped all those three questions and then started the questions and attempted those questions at the last phase of my time. Okay, so I am recommended to all my students that focus on this thing, that must have to attempt these sort of questions at the last phase of your exam. Okay, general do's and don'ts. These were the specific discussions about the nature of the question. Now, don't leave any question unanswered, because no negative marking, as I discussed earlier. Mark the question which you don't answer, and later on it would be very easy for you to locate the questions those are unanswered, because you have marked those questions, and later on you would be able to locate those questions. Attempt small questions first, leave big questions for the last phase of the exam. Read requirement carefully. Again and again, I'm focusing on this thing. Like most of the cases, students are overlooking, giving less concentration on the requirement. If you will understand the requirement, the probability to give the right answer will be much higher. All questions have equal marks, so don't over concentrate on big questions. Okay, this is one common confusion for the CMA students, like this question have a big data, so that question have a higher marks weightage. No, every question have equal marks weightage, which is 3.75 for first exam window. Don't lose your focus during your exam. So these are the general do's and don'ts you have to do during your first exam window. Now I'm moving towards second exam window. For that thing, I have discussed you earlier that after completion of your first exam window, uh, the computer software will assess your first exam window progress, and then if you met certain criteria, then it will allow you the access to the second exam window. Here, how many MCQs you have right answers, then you will get the next exam window access, which is 67%. Like in your guidance, it is mentioned if your 50% answers are right, you will get access to the second exam window. So it's a 50% weightage of total marks. So if from your first exam window you have 250 marks, then you will get second exam window access. For that purpose, you must have to answer 67 MCQs. Okay, because 67 times 3.75 will be approximate figure to 250 marks. Let me do the calculations, which is 250 times, 67 times 3.75, 67 times 3.75, it is 251.25. Okay, so through that you will get the access to second exam window. But most of the cases, students are very happy that they have got the second exam window access. It doesn't give you the guarantee that you will accomplish your objective to get 360 marks. So normally students are less focusing on second exam window. This exam window have vital role in your success during your exam. Okay, so normally most of the cases, if students are very good in their time management, they may be able to complete their MCQ section before the expiry of 3 hours exam duration. Let's assume you have saved 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes. What sort of the options do you have to utilize that time? Option one is review your answers. The answers which you have made for your MCQ sections must have to review. Second option is that you will move to the second exam window, and this time which you have saved the time in your first exam window will be added to your second exam window time, which is 60 minutes. So if you have saved 5 minutes or 10 minutes, it will be added to your second exam window total time. My recommendation is you have to review your MCQ sections. By reviewing your MCQ section, if you even though change the wrong answer into right answer of one question, you have accomplished, you have gained how many? 3.75 marks additional. Okay, but this will depend upon your confidence. Like when you answered your questions, if you answered your questions in a perfect manner and you are confident that all your answers or majority of your answers are right answers, then you can move to second exam window and you will get the benefit the time you have saved in your first exam window. But it's very time pressure exam. So in my personal observations, even though if you are capable enough to attempt all your MCQ sections during 3 hours, you have performed good. But if you have saved some time, it means you have performed extraordinary. Okay. For second exam window, how to manage your time in your second exam window. Your total time is 60 minutes. Time for each essay question 30 minutes. Idle time per essay question is 2 minutes. Productive time 28 minutes per essay. And for every essay question, you may have 5 to 7. This is not a hard and fast rule. It could be 4, it could be 8. You are actually answering short questions. It's not about essays, scenario-based discussion. It's about short questions. You may have some short questions. I will share you the prototype of the second exam window. So you are supposed to answer normally 5 to 7 short questions for every essay. Okay, so normally you have 28 minutes time. What you have to do and what you don't have to do. First of all, I will share you the one prototype. Let me get that prototype. Look, this is the prototype of second exam window. Looks like this, like on your left side, you have scenario. At the top of right side, your remaining time will be shown to you. And here on the right side, at the bottom, you have this window. Here you are supposed to write your answer. And here your question will be given to you. Like for this thing, you don't need to read out your scenario. First of all, read what is the question. Like here, question is define learning curve. For that purpose, you don't need to study this scenario. Just type your answer in your exam window. Okay. Uh, Now, when you will click on next, your scenario will remain the same, but this area will be changed. Like here, question 2. Again, here is what? Budgetary select. You are just supposed to write down what is budgetary select. But keep in mind that sometime you may have to uh, get the idea from your scenario. Like in question 3, identify and explain 2 negative effects that budgetary slack can have on the budgeting process. Again, you are supposed to type your answer. After that, like in question 4, identify and explain one limitation of learning curve. Again, this is about the typing of your answer. You don't take any sort of hint from your scenario. And in the last time, here you are supposed to get the hint from your scenario. So again, after completion of your first scenario questions, when you will click on the next, your next scenario will be appeared here. Okay. So I'm now moving towards our major slides. Okay. So this was the prototype of your exam. Now moving towards next section, uh, which is do's and don'ts in second exam window. Do's and second exam window. Answer all questions because there is no negative marking, which I have already discussed in first exam window. Here is no negative marking. No negative marking, as I mentioned earlier. Then mark the questions which do not answer, as I mentioned earlier. Common mistake done by student is they will study scenario first, which will consume around 3 to 5 minutes. So save this time. Study the requirement, and which is like normally about any definition or advantages or disadvantages or something. So write down your answer. Most of the questions have same answer. So be smart. So student must have to use copy paste option to save their time. Like this is the example. Write down 2 advantages of payback period. So the same advantages you have for payback period, the same advantages are for NPV. So be smart. Examiner don't expect to answer the separate answer for NPV and separate answer for payback period. In that case, if you may have a similar answer for 2 questions, just copy paste that answer from one section to second section. Majority question requires theoretical answers, so these answers must be concise, brief, relevant, and smart, because uh, like uh, you have time constraint during your second exam window, so your answer must have to be brief but relevant. It must have to cover the requirement of the examiner. Then at the end, if you may have any numerical question, because in that prototype, numerical question will take time. So uh, you must have to answer your numerical question after answering all theoretical questions. Best of luck for all students for their upcoming exams. I hope you may have enjoyed my this brief demonstration about how to manage your time and what are the do's and don'ts during your exam. Uh, Kindly subscribe my YouTube channel. I will share the solutions of past exam questions, as well as I will discuss some important topics in both in English and Urdu languages for the CMA students. So be tuned by having click on your bell icon and subscribe my YouTube channel Arshad Bhutta Official for further updates about CMA. Thank you very much.